Hello, hello, and
Hi.
welcome to this Final Boss Fight live stream of the Council of Tamrinor. My name is John, and this over here is Ben.
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
And we can see Ben this time for.
I was going to say,
for now.
yes, we can, and it's a lovely little picture this time.
We're trying something new with Google Meet. We may keep doing this for the council. We may not. Tune in
It's hard to
find
say.
out.
I tune in regardless. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to find out.
Continue tuning in to just continue watching this
Exactly.
world building stuff. What we do. So I hope that you guys are enjoying it because we're enjoying it.
Oh, absolutely.
Jeff has been world trending in his own way this month, and has been to India and back, which is apparently a little tiring.
Yes, I mean I could certainly see that.
So it's just the two of us council members tonight.
Aye.
And we're going to look at the Ravenstone Marshes. I'm going to tell Discord stop beeping at me. I'd like it to stop beeping at me for the
Technology, please quiet down. We're trying to talk here.
Hush. I'm also noticing how much, if you're watching the stream, how much this glass screen. Actually, if you're not watching the screen, you can be watching the Google Meets.
It's true.
This bit of glass is reflecting this monitor.
Yes.
Means I am going to just try and move that real fast over to this side, so that a darker thing is over here.
I'm sure there must be a way to sort of adjust and change that a touch, whereas just changing the angle of that one thing, but then again, it'll just be reflecting us somewhere else. It's either that, or I suppose there is the whole bit of
you could get yourself. Really do anything.
Not really. I mean, there are some films and stuff you can put over screens nowadays, so maybe that might be a trick.
Oh, over the. I thought you meant over that.
No. You still want to see that? No. But no. I mean, on your screen, like some of these polarized ones, so at the right angle you can see.
I don't know if that would work because it is directly.
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know how exactly which angle or whatnot.
We had one at work. One of the people at work used to sit directly in front of one of the meeting rooms, so you could look through the glass into and see her computer. And she also did payroll, which meant everybody's payment information would be on her screen. And so we got her one of the privacy screens, so she could not broadcast our payment details.
You know, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
Happening behind her. So it did mean that if you want to go and look at that screen, and she would sometimes show us things on that screen to be like, and look at this bit of feedback, and we'd have to stand directly behind the screen. If you stood if you looked at it from any angle, it was just a plain black screen. It looked like the screen was off. It's incredible what you can do with these things.
Oh, and it's the thing. Technology of the day makes things very interesting. I remember there's one in particular which I've been very tempted to try, which would make it so that only you can ever watch what happens on your screen. And that is that you can polarize your glasses.
This is true.
And have it into the same effect. So basically you can see what's going on the screen, but no one else can.
Actually, and we will get to world building Tamrinor in a second. But apparently polarization and polarized glasses is where we're going to start this conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are... do you watch Doctor Who? Let's start with that. Are you a fan of Doctor Who, Ben?
I have watched Doctor Who. I have watched a few seasons, but I'm very behind.
Did you see the 50th anniversary special, the Day of the Doctor, I think? It was the David Tennant, Matt Smith...
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
When they showed that in the cinema, because they showed that in 3D at the cinema, like the first night it was like out.
Yeah.
They had a run up to it that was the two of the doctors talking to you about putting on your 3D glasses and like activating the 3D. And
I
like
think I
David
remember
Tennant
that.
was warning you about Matt Smith's chin coming out together in a second.
Yeah.
Like they had a PSA from Strax about being quiet in the cinema. But because it was shape-shifting Zygons, the bad guys in that storyline,
Yeah.
in that PSA with the doctors talking to you about putting your 3D glasses on, they sonic screwdrivered your 3D glasses and said you've now got a Zygon detector. Close one eye and look at the person next to you. And if one of their lenses of their glasses is fully black, that means they are a Zygon. Don't panic. Don't let them know. But that you are sitting next to a shape-shifting alien.
Yeah.
Like, when this film ends, quietly leave. Don't let them know. But of course, because of the way that polarized lenses work,
Yeah.
if you look at anybody with one eye closed through 3D glasses, because they're just polarized glasses,
Of course.
one of the lenses is going to be solid black.
Yeah.
Unless your 3D glasses don't work.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, if you went to one of the cheap cinemas where they literally just put cling film over each one.
Yeah. Anyway, that all said, that was a fun diversion. I
It
actually
was a fun
realised
diversion. I like that.
I don't actually have the chat somewhere I can see, so
Oh.
I've run out of screens to put things on. Let's put
I am
that.
expecting that one day I'm going to come around George and you're just going to have about 18 just dotted around.
One of the people I used to work with always said that he was going to just keep getting screens. Like when one of the people that we worked with left the company, he took their screens and then he used those screens and had 4 screens, and we kept saying that he was going to get another 4 screens and put them above the above his screens, and it was going to just become like NASA mission control.
I will say, I once had a mate of mine who was very much into their tech, and apparently, or at least according to them, so I don't know how true or false this is, but according to them, they had a setup where they put a couple of screens, but there was one in particular which was set above his head, and if anyone ever came to talk to him, he had a little camera just underneath it, and he had a camera in front of him. So it hit a button, and his face would pop up on the camera at the top. They would be projected down to a little video on his main screen, and he would just talk to the computer because he didn't want to turn around.
I am the Oz, the great and the powerful.
Ignore the person at the computer who is watching a video of you. I just love that, like, commitment to a bit, effectively. I mean, you can't be asked to turn around to you. There, look, I'm looking you right in the eye.
Okay. We've got some locations to go through.
Yes, we do.
Let's start with the locations, not the new location.
Okay.
Let's have a quick recap of the places that we've currently got in the Ravenstone Marshes. And we'll go through. Some of these are ones that we've talked about on stream. Some of these are ones that Jeff and I sort of added to the book when we were like, we need more places in this place. So some of these haven't appeared on the stream yet.
Okay. Very mysterious.
Aether Anchorage.
Okay.
We looked at the bloody great big river that was in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
And we thought that river is like a couple of. It's basically a sea,
Yeah.
almost. It's a lake. It's a giant lake.
Yeah.
An inland sea. That's the. So we thought if you're crossing that, much like you need a settlement, like at the end of every time that the horses are going to get tired, you'll get a tavern springs up and then people start living there.
Yeah.
We wanted something that was in the middle of the lake, where if you're crossing the lake and you get tired, you can moor up at this place. So that is the Aether Anchorage. It is a floating city that serves as a resting point for travelers crossing the waters of the Siren's Lake. It's built on a network of interconnected platforms and it sways gently with the lake's currents. Its buildings constructed from lightweight materials because
it has to be.
It's meant to float. They tried rocks and it just sort of sunk. With subtle enchantments to keep the whole thing stable. Wooden walkways and rope bridges connect the various districts, while lanterns are strung along the pathways that cast a warm, inviting glow over the water at night. It is a thriving hub of trade and respite. Aether Anchorage offers inns, markets, and places of worship to those journeying through the region. Sailors, merchants, and scholars alike gather in its bustling squares, exchanging stories and goods from all across Tamrinor. And we have described two of these inns. One is the Whispering Wave Inn, which provides a sanctuary of warmth and intrigue. The inn's cozy hearth and attentive service are matched only by the wealth of gossip and news that flows through its halls. I can read the words I've written myself. Carried by sailors and merchants crossing the Siren's Lake, and then the Aether's hearth beckons with its promise of warmth and delectable fare. This is the second place.
Okay.
The crackling fire in its common room casts a cozy glow, while the tantalizing scent of expertly crafted dishes fills the air, solidifying its reputation as the culinary gem of Aether Anchorage.
Interesting. I'm certainly interested, more for the sake of having to build with light materials, and yet you found a way to actually make a fire on there.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's metals. Like there's a... Or it's just enchanted wood.
Or a magical fire. There are plenty of ways to go around it.
There are options.
I wasn't sure if you'd actually come up with one yet.
Nope.
But
but those are some of the options. It's enchanted fire. It's a metal section of boat, effectively. It's magic wood that doesn't burn.
Which, yeah.
I mean, I quite like it being magic fire that doesn't spread.
I do like that as well. I think that it makes a lot of sense for the world, and plus it also gives you an opportunity for we could effectively...
What if it's a minor elemental?
That's interesting. I was going to suggest that it would be effectively something people could make it use as a cantrip. But it is a relatively basic spell that you could effectively use. We're talking along the lines of, I can't remember what it's called now, but where you can create a small flame.
Something like create bonfire.
Yeah, exactly. But it could be along the lines of pulling an elemental just literally a very basic elemental to come and happily sit while you cook above it, which I find utterly adorable, and immediately my mind goes to Calcifer.
This is where this is where brain went as well. Yes.
Which I do like that as an idea, but just yes, when it comes down to these basic ones, you're effectively calling down a lesser elemental, effectively.
I'm also kind of picturing it. You know, I don't know if you've seen Frozen 2, but there's the little firebug salamander lizard thing. I'm just picturing that being like curled up in the hearth of the inn, cooking over it, and then like, one egg for you, little salamander thing. And the rest for the patrons. I'm gonna make a note of that.
I do like that being effectively a fire pet. Even potentially been a couple down the generations, but they seem to be quite popular on the ship because as natural evolution, they've come to realize you don't set fire to the bottom of anything. You set fire to the top of you, because if you set fire to the bottom, you go through.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, or set fire to the bottom of the boat you're on.
Yes, exactly. Effectively, very quickly learnt symbiosis.
This new layout offers the fun of John has to take the notes, and less of the fun of John is taking the notes live on stream.
Yes.
Which John enjoys because it means I can spell things wrong and nobody's judging my spelling. Which of course nobody was doing in the first place. But
no, of course not. To be fair, that's how we come up with fantasy names in the first place anyway, is when you spell something wrong. Did he mean to write that? Yes.
Yeah, sure. The next and most obvious place in the Ravenstone Marshes is Lawfell.
Mm-hmm.
Which is our capital city. It's the main location of the Alliance, and pretty important place. Nestled on the shimmering shore of the Siren's Lake, it is a sprawling metropolis, its skyline dominated by a colossal multi-spired castle, the ancestral home of the royal family. The air here often carries the mingled scents of damp lake earth, blooming jasmine from the terraced gardens, and the distant metallic tang of royal forge. More subtly, for those attuned to it, there's a faint, almost imperceptible hum of raw magic, a resonance with the very ground beneath Lawfell. That's the Casamite down underneath town. More on thoughts on Casamite coming up, because I've had some.
What, Casamite? You shouldn't be eating that.
The castle itself, this I've gone into a little bit more of detail on, because it's the book for it.
Yes.
The castle itself is a marvel of engineering and artistry, surrounded by a series of concentric rings, each a living homage to the diverse races within the Alliance of Casimir. These rings aren't merely administrative districts, they are distinctive neighborhoods, each showcasing the characteristic architectural, that's a fun sentence to say, styles of their dominant species. The inner ring is the human and elven ring. Closest to the castle, this ring features elegant towering structures of pale stone and dark polished wood, often adorned with intricate carvings and delicate spires, reflecting the refined taste of human elves. Here the air hums with a soft murmur of political discourse and the occasional chime of a grand. The Dwarven Ring is the Dwarven Ring. Further out, the buildings transition to robust, squat structures of dark, rough-hewn stone, their facades often featuring elaborate runic inscriptions and heavy wrought iron detailing. The rumble of subterranean workshops and the bang of hammers on metal are common sounds here. The Gnomish and Halfling Ring. I'm suggesting possibly we come up with different names for these.
I would agree that certainly having them as easily described for the time being is certainly a wonderful option, but actually to give them a definition, and I feel going with the traits from it, trait naming conventions which we've already placed in towards naming each of the different areas would work quite nicely.
This ring is a whimsical maze of brightly coloured, oddly shaped dwellings, some built into hillsides, others with mismatched rooftops, and clever mechanical contraptions whirring gently from the windows. Scent of freshly baked goods often wafts through the narrow, winding streets, punctuated by bursts of laughter and the clatter of small, busy feet. The Goblin Ring. Chaotic and endlessly inventive, the goblin-dominated ring is a riot of improvised architecture, ramshackle additions clinging to older structures, precariously stacked workshops humming with barely contained energy, and the bewildering array of jerry-rigged mechanisms. Sparks often fly from open doorways, accompanied by the clang of metal, excited shouts, and the occasional sudden crump of an invention gone awry. The scent of ozone and singed wires hangs in the air.
All right.
The Tiefling Ring. Two more. The
Fair
Tiefling
enough.
Ring. This ring, often found closer to the city's fringes or built into more dramatic shadowed parts of Lorfeld's landscape, offers architecture that is both striking and utilitarian. Buildings incorporate angular designs, dark polished obsidian-like stone, and often subtle flame-inspired motifs and wrought iron embellishment. The air might carry the faint, spicy scent of exotic incense or sharp tang of alchemical experiments, while hushed conversations and the rhythmic beat of distant percussive music are often heard.
Okay.
Might need to rework the sentence. This ring, which is often found, because that raises the question of where is it found at other times?
Oh, mind you, that does sort of place an interesting way you could sort of throw in. What if that is effectively something in a Planier shift?
Potential. The Avian Ring. Because, they have.
Of course.
On the city's fringes, lighter, more open structures of woven branches and high, airy platforms dominate, allowing for the ease of flight. Wind chimes made from hollow bones or polished wood often create a melodic symphony, and the sky above is frequently dotted with soaring figures. Each ring governs the political affairs relevant to its populace, ensuring a delicate balance within the city. Main thoroughfares, paved with iridescent riverstone, lead from one ring to the next, bustling with carts selling everything from exotic food to finely crafted goods. The constant chatter of commerce, the distant cries of street vendors, and the clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages forms a vibrant soundscape throughout the day. Then we talk about Lorfell being the heart of Cassamite, how Cassamite is heavily guarded, how it regenerates, the refinement process which is sent over to Vectis Haven because nobody else wants to do it. So I've got two thoughts that I want to throw out there for Cassamite.
Okay.
One is in Casimir. We know that he did something that managed to unite the people of the swamp, and he drained the swamp to make arable farmland, is what we've
Yes.
said so far. And that there are potentially 2 or 3 kings around the same time, or 2 or 3 rulers around the same time, might all be Casimir.
Yes.
Due to some sort of weirdness with the unwriting,
Yes.
the way that just history has taken it. What if one of them
Yeah.
has managed to do something such as finding Casamite, and that is something that allowed him to unite the people?
And it'd be an interesting secret history of that. The uniting of the people was an unintentional thing. It was more a discovery of the source of this power of this Casamite, which was below, that actually triggered to try to drain the area, try to do the other bits and pieces, which other people end up finding use for, and just claiming and accepting and taking, but then turning more into a guilty story of sorts. It would be a hidden history. It would be a very locked away one, that it was a byproduct, which wasn't intended, but by instead twisting the story to that it was an intentional thing, it pulled the people together.
I like the idea that it was still an intentional thing by one of them.
Yes.
I think that I want to keep that there is at least one out of the 3 that intentionally wanted to bring people together and has succeeded in that. And it wasn't.
Yes.
It wasn't.
To be
wasn't
frank,
somebody.
I must say, I've always liked our little Casimir, the whole point that when it comes down to that, the intention, the full intention is always to pull people together.
Yeah.
Because to pull people together made the point. Unless that is the aspect that there was a seen opportunity from this discovery and from the actions, and perhaps pushing things down the right.
One of them managed to find this and was able to use this to unite people and bring people to. One of them.
I could see it starting.
This
and
started to prepare to harvest it, and that made the arable land, and that gave him the power base to unite the people of the surrounding area and to build the big city here, like the
maybe that's it. But it's more a case
that of the unification.
Perhaps it wasn't more. It's always was the good intention. Let's throw it down that. It was always a good intention, because we want our Casimir to have been of good intentions, regardless of which one it ends up being. It was of good intentions. So let's say instead that it was of a lower intention. It was meant to be the starting place, but it ended up being a bigger reaction than expected, thanks to the Casamite. The Casamite actually boomed it, where all of a sudden, to try and do things on a small scale would be more irreparable than to immediately jump into big. The land has almost immediately turned. It has changed. It has twisted. It has become a new layout. It is not something you can hide away. It's not something which can be subtly done. And you know for a fact that people are going to come for this land because it is now a good land. Where you now throw in the little twist that you then throw it out that, okay, this isn't for just the humans or just the elves or just, though it might have started that way. He was trying to find a place to settle, to bring his people, to start them off. It wasn't meant to be big, but it ended up being bigger than they expected. They didn't understand the power. They didn't understand exactly what they got their hands on. And in doing so, they basically signaled to the world that something has happened here. And the only logical step is to ramp up rather than to pull back. To pull back would be to start wars, to be people fighting over this place, would be to encourage a lot more action which would devastate everything which had just been brought, but to offer it instead, to create the council
work together instead of...
exactly, makes more sense than to try and keep it for a singular, because that is the only way you will stop everyone fighting for this place. You saw its relevance, but you didn't realize how relevant it really was.
Okay. I can work with that.
Because it also adds in a little extra to the lore of the Casamite as well, which is, it is a lot more powerful than people actually understand. And it's like scraping the understanding like we do with our own technologies. We think we know what it does until you start trying, and then you find out what it does. And you find out you know so little about it. It's almost like our version of quantum mechanics. We know some, but we don't know everything.
We also have at the Lawfell, or on the outskirts of Lawfell, farmland, because we've said that there is arable farmland around the capital, and that's how whoever it was managed to unite the people here. One of the things that is there is affectionately known as the Whispering Field. Verdant expanse providing essential foods that keep Lawfell's granary full. The air is often redolent with the scent of rich earth and ripening crops. If you are a criminal in Lawfell with a lighter sentence, you might be dispatched to the farms where the repentant workers are put to labour, tending to the crops, mending fences, or assisting with irrigation. The system not only aids in the city's sustenance, but also offers a chance at redemption for those who...
Which I love as an idea. As well as I was throwing... I want a dash of effectively found creatures which are the best for the sake of the... effectively, we're talking manure. I know I'm going down that line, but it seems like an odd combination of animals which make up these farms, which are literally there to create the best manure for the sake of it, because they've come to realize the combination of the such allows it. So thus, they are the prime examples, which I would like to hold off on us actually deciding, because I'd like to sort of throw that one down as another one of our little judgments of the council to throw in an animal each, which is, with combination, becomes the great manure, effectively a bringer of life into the soil itself, but also means that we can create some interesting creatures potentially. And I do love that I'm throwing things out to the council when it's just us here. So
I'm putting a note in for us to expand that later.
Because I like that as an idea that it isn't, rather than it being regular animals of sorts, there are a few which are peculiar, but they have such a good purpose as well. And once again, the whole concept of them having to be looked after and having to be treated, there could be a very good reason that, you know, if you've got an ever so slightly harsher one, there are some other ever so slightly harsher animals that do require a bit more of a firmer touch. So in which case, perhaps an ex-criminal who's willing might just be able. And in sort of relation, I'm thinking like tending to bulls.
Oh, you mean they look after the animal, they're not providing the manure?
Oh, no, sorry.
That's a very different criminal punishment.
Oh, yes. No, effectively, they're looking after and acquiring the manure to sort of, for the sake of use. Effectively, it's another farm job. But as I say, for the sake of the creatures are a bit more peculiar. But once again, they're shown that they have the greatest use for the sake of what they come out with. Whatever that might be.
I've put down a note for us to expand on that, and I'm also looking. One of the upcoming sessions is monsters? Question mark.
That
I feel
might be a good
that's-
place to put that in. Yeah.
That's something that can go in the. Technically, I guess, assuming we do these in the order that I wrote out my random thoughts of, we need to cover these things in next session in October would be adventure hooks.
I mean, for the sake that it's October, monsters might be an interesting one for the sake of a
Monsters-
Halloween special.
Monsters might be a good idea next month. We've got one on orcs and amalgi, which are the two new playable races I want to get into this book. The history of this bit,
Yeah.
magic items and spells, and then obviously I'm open to you guys having other ideas of other things we want to do a session
yeah.
on.
I mean, the other thing which I would love for us to have a laugh around, but I'm waiting until we get a little bit more information, or figure out a little bit more information on Lorfell in particular, which is the grand conspiracy of Lorfell, which we've talked about before, but I won't go into dramatic detail. But once again, every good world needs a good conspiracy theory around it as well.
Well, I've put it in as a note on my notes of things that we can talk about. Going back to quickly going through the rest of the buildings that we've decided for Lorfell, and obviously there are others that we want to come up with. We're doing here. There's the Iron Wings Resolve, which is an arena that can adapt to whatever is being shown there, whether that's battlefield where the arena is changing throughout the fight, or if it's something for a Clash of the Bands, or Clash of the Bards, crystalline platforms that rise and fall, high-octane races where the environment is constantly shifting beneath the competitors' feet. Maybe something to have simulated weather effects to mirror historical fights, so that you've got like a arena where there's the storm in the middle of it, and you've actually got like ship-to-ship battles happening because, you know, they're rich and they can do this sort of thing in the middle of town. The Unity Cathedral, which is the grand building place of worship for all of the Pantheon, positioned in such a way that each of the Antari, each of the deities, has an equal amount of time in the light. We have Casimir's Crown, which is the large two-story tavern with the distinctive sign outside depicting a raven sitting on a crown, or raven wearing a crown, a reference to the town's original name of Ravenseat. This establishment caters to an upmarket clientele, particularly on its second floor, which boasts elegant wood panelling and secluded private booths. Naturally, prices reflect its premium experience, catering to a higher tier patronage.
Oh, but of course.
And then near the Unity Cathedral stands the first wing of the Emberwolf Archives, a truly grand being. While it seamlessly integrates with Lorfell's native architecture, its elaborate flourishes unmistakably mark it as avian in origin. And then we also have, in terms of characters, we have Solari Moonshadow, a non-binary elf who owns the Casimir's Crown. The stoic dwarven unified cleric of the Unity Cathedral, Bunk Marblehewen. And Rowan, the avian, who serves as the keeper of the scriptures of the first wing of the Emberwolf Archives, a elderly avian who is deeply set in his ways and clings resolutely to tradition.
Okay.
We also have the moving away from Lorfell. We have the Sirens Academy, which is directly on the other side of the lake from, well, this is the main magical pool. It's a large tower that stands at very odd angles because magic is weird. And why build a normal tower when you can just say, no, I don't care about physics? Near it we have the Sirens, the small fishing village of Sirens Harbour. Where the students of the academy and probably the teachers go on their days off and just like drink with the locals and stuff. It's a university town, basically. It has, in terms of the buildings listed, it's got the Wizard's Staff, which is its primary drinking hole. For students and lecturers alike, this 3-story tavern holds a quirky secret. A dance floor on the 5th floor of the 3-story building. No one's sure how it got there. No one's sure if there's a 4th floor. Nobody can find a 4th floor at the moment. It's a weird magical leakage that nobody questions deeply for fear of it disappearing. And it is run by a Francesca di Novato Ritalo, a human former student of the Sirens Academy, never quite managed to graduate. Despite still possessing a small magical spark, she remains in the area, clinging to the hope that her constant proximity to the Academy might eventually reignite her latent powers. True to her past, she still wears the flamboyant and colourful robes and dresses once wore at the Academy, most notably those with flowing sleeves and long cascading skirts in deep purple. Basically, she was our rinse.
Yeah.
And then
I was just getting that, yeah.
in places that we still have... in places that we have that are still presently, we've discussed on stream before, there's also Taze Hall.
Yeah.
Which is nestled at the edge of Torgalard. It is a place that grew out of the Holy War that took place between Torgalard and, at the time, Ravenseat. It was the military hall of one General Tay, and the town grew out of where the former military camp was. The Drill Hall serves as the bustling central meeting point in Taze Hall, a modern hub of town life built directly into the time-worn remains of General Tay's original hall. The grand structure seamlessly incorporates the ancient stone foundations and weathered walls of the military past, creating a unique space where the town's history is physically woven into its present. And that is run by Wumgawa Tayson, rough and almost militaristic owner of Drill Hall. A formidable figure, his face bears the scars of a former soldier. He stands fiercely protective of both his establishment and the regulars who frequent it. And providing security at points is Edvaldo Prothero. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Prothero, a figure with eager eyes and striking silver hair, and bound by the will of his crystal ball. However, a truly troubling question has begun to gnaw at him. Is the orb truly predicting the future, or is it merely manifesting? When contemplating this paradox, reviewing a drafted business plan and nursing a bottle of gin, Edvaldo often steps in as a bouncer, ensuring things don't get too rowdy at the tavern. Basically, he was written as like, he's got a crystal ball, he likes to look at the future, and now he's questioning, am I actually seeing the future, or am I making the future come to be because I'm doing the things the ball tells me?
Yeah.
Am I too invested in my magic 8-ball?
Yeah. Which is a nice little thing to play around.
In terms of things that haven't appeared on stream yet, this is the place that I've got a lot of detail on because I've written some detail about it for a story that will be appearing at some point in the future. Velin's Watch, or Valen's Watch. Valen. I have not pronounced it often. It's the worst kind of. I've only ever seen it written down. I've only written it down myself. Velin's Watch sits on the north bank of Siren's Lake, where the waters stretch calm and deep, their mirrored surface broken only by the occasional ripple of a fisher's skiff or the call of a lake gull. The town straddles the border between the fertile farmland and the reed-woven expanse of the Ravenstone Marshes, its timber-framed houses and weathered stone lanes built to endure the damp winds that roll off the lake. To the west... Sorry?
I don't know, I was just saying that actually sounds quite nice.
To the west towers Lantern Spire, a sheer quartz-veined cliff that catches the last light of the setting sun. On the night of the Lantern Release Festival, which I might need to come up with some more details about why they do it, but I wanted a Lantern Release Festival in it of this. The cliff becomes the heart of the celebration. Families and travelers spreading blankets to watch hundreds of glowing paper lanterns rise in the night. Each carries a wish, prayer of remembrance, drifting skyward before the lake swallows their reflection in a shimmer of gold. From Lantern Spire, it's as though you can watch both the heavens and earth alight at once.
Ooh. As an idea on that.
Yep.
We could place it down as effectively. It might have started off as sort of a manner to appease the gods on a mistaken identity. Potentially was something which actually happened, but effectively a night where there were no stars, and they started frankly, and one person sent up a lantern, and then again and again and again, and then the stars started to appear, or so it seemed that this little ceremony of sorts would call upon them again. That it is in honor of the gods, and it became, I mean, let's face it, that's a lovely tradition, whether you would be behind that god or not. It's a lovely tradition which most people would probably get behind anyway, because it becomes one of those great festival things where it started off with a minuscule amount and grew and grew and grew, and it now has thousands of these lanterns being released and taking to the sky. And for one reason or another, there is a night of the year that appears to have no stars in the sky. From that location, at least. No one knows why. No one knows whether it's even the gods just because they like what's happening, wanted to guarantee it happened again. There are many debates as to exactly what causes it.
I mean, if you picture that it's some point towards the end of the year, it could be something with the maelstrom.
That would make a lot of sense.
We could say that it happens in, like, I'm trying to remember the month. Yeah, the 11th month of the year is surely one of them. Daimos' Relent.
That would be quite cool.
Because he called such because it's when he briefly has to relent and allow the maelstrom to rage. So it would make perfect sense that at that same time it appears from Velin's watch, which is close to
Yeah.
the
It's definitely
maelstrom.
close enough, anyway.
Just beyond the last cluster of cottages on firmer ground where the marsh's grasp loosens, stands Duskvale Manor, a newly built but gracefully designed mansion of pale stone and green slate roof. The Duskvales, recently elevated to nobility and former adventurers, are beloved stewards of Velin's watch. Their family has long maintained the dams, mills, and lake trade, ensuring the town's prosperity despite the marsh's fickle moods. Lord and Lady Duskvale walk the markets without retinue and open their gardens to people during festivals, a gesture that has made them both trusted as they are respected. Velin's Watch may not be the largest settlement along Siren's Lake, but its people are steadfast, its fields rich, and on the night of the lantern, it feels as if the world gathers on the north bank. Watch the stars being born. So there we go. I already got to there. I got to the thing that we said in the description of the place.
It literally works so well. It goes so well.
Okay, fantastic. That's definitely the story then.
It's almost as if we plan it.
I just write things, and
I just come up with random things and just throw it out until something sticks.
So I'm going to go. That's all of the places that we currently have that are very well thought out. I've got two more that are sort of seedlings. That they're basic ideas of places, and then we can look at what you've said.
To be fair, when it comes down to it, as I now think that the two ideas which I have, I think will probably work better as almost one.
Okay.
But we'll go with your two seedlings first, and we'll come back to mine when it comes down to it. Will give me a chance to try and come up with a name for it as well, considering that I've come up with a prospect, I haven't come up with the name.
I do have my list of names that I can turn to if you haven't come up with a name.
Okay.
I've got my list of unusual place names for fantasy places that we can draw some ideas from.
I really need to do that in the future. Just walk around with a little notebook and just literally write down random bits I come across. All sorts of manner of stuff.
The top half of my list is from random people's like Instagram posts of when you need inspiration for names, like take these. And the bottom half of the list is when Sian goes on holiday in Cornwall and she messages me and says, "We've just driven past here. We've just driven past here."
Yeah. The amount of times where I've driven through a little village, it's like, hey, little Bostow, that just sounds lovely, you know? Or whatever it might be.
So the first one I'm going to say is a settlement. It's a village. It's. I've used town in the description I've written, but it probably isn't like it's not a very big established town.
Okay.
But it does also, and I was thinking about this while we were starting the stream, it does also offer us an opportunity to expand on something that we have. We've started with the first book, and if we put it into the second book, we're starting a pattern, which means we need to include it in the third and fourth book.
Okay.
I'm proposing the town of Ravenspire.
Okay.
One word, Ravenspire. It is a town built around an obsidian spire that originally gave the marshes their name.
So effectively, every one of our books has a spire.
Yes.
I do like that as an idea. I do like that as an idea, I will say.
The spire still offers the town magical protection.
Okay. Once again, that's quite interesting placing them. the whole magical elementalism, I will get the right word out, is always an interesting concept. And certainly works very well for the sake of our world. And I do like the idea of every book has a spire. A particular spire. There is a spire, which is
there's going to have
prominent.
to be, when we get to the fourth book, there is going to have to be some connection between the spires.
I would like for the fourth book to have the broken spire.
I need to remember where the fourth book takes place now. 1 second.
Oh, I'm hoping that the fourth book is getting close to the maelstrom. Because if it does, I mean, I feel like the broken spire should be in that range. But whether or not that's actually the fourth book is a different matter entirely. I'm just figuring out in my head that we seem to be slowly moving across the map.
I'm just going back to. There we go. So the second book is Torgalad and Ravenstone, which is one we're currently working on. Third book is the Trieste Mountains and Boreas Fields.
Okay.
And the fourth book is Arium, the Ironspine Mountain, the Land Beyond.
Okay.
So it would feature Lawe Fuan in the fourth
in which
book,
case,
you could have one. That would mean that if we put the spire in the Boreas Fields, the spires could literally just line up across the continent.
Yeah,
it could be a straight line across the continent. And yes, Lawe Fuan has the broken spire.
Yeah.
Which, if you repair it, who knows what happens when the spires are all active.
Exactly.
There's an adventure hook for you.
Exactly, in my mind as well. It is one of those things where you know the spires have power, you know they do something, you know that it generates and does something for the particular areas, but you know that there seem to be only 4 and one of them is broke. And no one knows what would happen. Like, the others are protected because no one knows if that's what caused the maelstrom in the first place. Or if maybe the maelstrom's taking power from it, who knows? By fixing it, you might be making it worse.
Are we just
you could go very in depth
to hang yourself?
Yeah, exactly. It really would be that kind of open-end adventure we'd have to put on that one as well for an adventure hook. This one really doesn't tie you, railroad you, or anything. You are free to try. Go wherever you like, and all that sort. It would be a whirlwind adventure of sorts.
You can certainly try.
Exactly.
Do you have any other, that's all the note I have on Ravenspire. It's a small village. It's going to now be on the same level as Seabury's Spire.
I'm going to say that maybe there's a sort of... The reason why it stayed a small village, it hasn't grown into anything in particular, but it does still have a place of rest. It still has a small smattering, but it's almost a tiny cluster instead, is a subtle distrust of it. It's because it's the Raven one, because it's this black obsidian spire, there is still a little bit of not being entirely sure. I would love for there to be one theory which has become a bit more of a place almost like creepypasta-ish lore which has gone around, which is that the obsidian stone holds something like the maelstrom itself. Whilst it's still encapsulated, it is safe-ish, maybe, and seems to be giving out a beneficial thing, but if anything should ever happen to it, and it's that sort of creepy story which one gets some people to go and take a look to it, and there's a morbid curiosity to it. but less people actually want to go and settle around it or be around it for too long just in case. The people who have settled realize that they can have a decent life. It's not a negatively impacting one, but the power of a story can have such a dramatic impact that where it could be a bustling town with this wonderful magical energy helping, no one
maintains
is.
its small size, but I want to go there.
It's rumor. Rumor has it, and rumor can sway an opinion quite easily.
I'm just also gonna, while I'm at this point in our Council of Tamrinor conversation, I'm just gonna pin that message about the order of the books, just so that I can come back to that easily in the future.
That makes a bit of sense.
The other location I have, and I say location I have, the other nugget of a location that I want to put forward as a potential location for us is building off of something that I've mentioned that we could use having in the second. And that's battlefields.
Yes.
Because we haven't... In the first book, we didn't have a battlefield.
No.
But we also didn't have anywhere... We could have had, like, a battle from the Oak Rebellion. We could still add battlefields to the plot.
Yes.
I guess until book 5 comes out, which is, like, the final...
I mean, there's always a potential of supplemental books as well if we want to, for the additional battlefields of, we could always throw that one in technically as a side piece, but
playing around with this controller for LED lights.
That's fair enough.
Don't worry about it.
To be fair, I carry on picking up and playing with random things I've got around my table as well.
I always do this.
I am literally not too far away from grabbing chicken dice and stuff like that. But yes, battlefields are quite an interesting one. I would like there to be some which are prominent enough that they are mentioned in the book, because they are meant to be locations.
That is prominent enough to be mentioned.
Okay.
Or at least I like the name of it enough.
Okay.
That it can be mentioned in the book. I want to come up with some further thoughts on why it's still a thing. It's been about 250 years since this fight happened.
Okay.
So for this to not be a thing that people have gone from, I think, and I've listed in here, sight is still tainted by the battle.
Yes.
There needs to be some reason why people haven't gone, why don't we plant the crops over there?
Okay, so what did you come up with a name? You said you had a name?
Broken Veil.
In which case, I have an idea of sorts, which is because obviously this we play around with magic, and magic would be played around quite a lot. But there were some parts which seemed to effectively make a rupture in the time scale to create a on loop story, as it were, that it plays out the fight still. Only when you step into the veil, which is to step into the area. If you're outside of the area where the ground is not tainted, it looks empty. But to step inside is to literally step into a projection of the battle itself. You can live the war. You can see all the different bits and pieces, and once again, it now becomes a point where though the land itself is fine, the visions of the ruptured and ripped, littering the floor is nauseating. The ghosts or seemingly ghosts, which are still running around and still fighting and screaming and shouting and trying their best. That is a true manner to find and see the true horrors of war against different nations, against different people, and seeing it from a different perspective. It becomes almost a hallowed ground to a degree that, much like we see war memorials and talking about taking a view from a different perspective, you literally can. That one, no one wants to try and use the land because it is disturbing to try to. But the other side is it feels like something which should be preserved as a method of showing what happened in the past. And because it sort of loops oddly, you can walk through different areas and different things would happen. So you could potentially even throw in a little adventure hook in there that there was a lost history, but no, they know there's something in there, but they haven't got someone with a strong enough stomach to go in so far as to try and find it. But there is something lost that your adventures potentially could find. I'm thinking, so my head has it more like a in the Dungeons and Dragons movie with, and quick spoiler, just in case, where they end up trying to find the history of what happened to the Helm.
Yes.
Effectively, imagine that just without talking, that it's just happening. And because it sort of relocates and changes, that you get a snippet of the information that you need, but you're going to have to come back or try and figure out the time to come in again to try and follow the next step.
I'm also seeing, as you're saying that, one, I think that we'd have, well, in the story that I've written that has Belin's watch mentioned, they also talk about going. The kickoff of the story happens with them fighting some undead that have escaped the broken veil. So I think that could be something as well, in that sometimes maybe there's a.
Well, I must admit, I was going to throw
of power.
Well, I was going to throw in that little aspect for the sake of a potential part of the adventure, which is there are some undead in there, actual ghosts and stuff, which are, well, once again, they haunt the fields of which they walk.
Yeah.
If you disturb it too long, or if they manage to find a way out, they might not be too happy about what you've been doing wandering around. In which case, in my mind, I end up with this whole concept of imagine a D&D situation where you are in this field of reimagined horror, this reimagined war where everything looks like a ghost.
Yeah.
But there are actual ghosts trying to take you on as well. A lot of it is illusion.
But there's an actual ghost there as well. And
but
that
there is
be a problem.
And it's aiming for you. So you need to try and figure out, and it becomes a challenge in itself for that sake. Because, yeah, so you can swing your sword around as much as you like, but the chance of you hitting something, unless you're actually aiming for it, is more in their favor than yours. You can even place in the other side of things if you have an opposite faction trying to gain the information that you're going in for as well. With all the distraction around, the potential of these distracted fights between you and them, getting lost and trying to dodge things because you don't know whether it's real or not. You just see something flying towards your head.
I think we need the name for an elven guardian that is like protects the.
Okay.
Stops people from just walking into it without knowing what is happening. I feel that needs to be an elf, because that needs to be somebody who's like, we did some really bad stuff here, and I feel like I'm making up for it. Like,
yes,
it's only 200. Said it's 270 years ago. 270 years ago for 30 or 40 years, so it's like 270 to 230 years ago. Elves could still be around. This could be somebody who fought there and is like, well, we didn't do a good job here. I feel bad about this. We're gonna I'm gonna make amends for that by making sure that people don't have to go through it unless they're prepared to go through it, in which case they need to go through it to see that it's a really bad thing we did.
Yes.
Like, I'm just picturing it also sort of being like slightly, Peter Capaldi's Doctor's war speech of like,
yes,
you hold it and you make sure that no one ever feels that way again. It's like he's the one that's like, we're not gonna do that again. War's dumb.
Yeah, the whole side
dumb, you guys.
It is pretty much the whole side of things. You think you've been through war? No, you haven't been through war. This is war. Pretty much. Almost the whole thing of glancing and dragging you out afterwards. It's like, that is war. That is the smallest stippling that you will ever see of it. That is war. For the sake of a name, though, trying to remember, what is our naming convention for the sake of the elves?
For the L, it is that they are nature named. So things like Acheron Branch, Oak Silverbark, Evie Oakenrut.
So I'm thinking then. Hold on, let's take a quick gander. Actually, it wasn't too far away from what I was going for. Interesting. Okay. So which I was taking a look was Petris Razorwin. And
how are we spelling that?
Pettis.
Yeah.
And Arazorwyn.
Petris Razorwin.
Exactly. Which I'm actually surprised it's not too dissimilar from a couple random little bits of extinct plants I just looked up. As okay, actually those two bits do work together quite nicely and do have a floral touch. So they're close enough. I'm happy to actually stick with that name. I get a bit too much into our naming convention, so rather than sounding floral, it's like, no, we're going to research now. Yeah, I get the feeling that maybe sometimes we get a bit too into these things.
So now that we've looked at my places, I think that there are still some things that we can do, because I'd like to go back to Ravenspire and Velin's Watch and add like a tavern for both of them.
That is understandable. Yeah, I agree. Makes a lot of sense.
Which we can do in a moment. What's your place? Have you come up with a name for it yet? Because that's really helpful for my note.
This can be a working name, so we might potentially be able to change this, but I'm going to call it Mossfall Cove. So literally Mossfall Cove. Mossfall being one word, cove afterwards.
And just to be clear, moss fall as in
falling down.
Okay.
So before the stream, this was something which I was having a quick chat with John about rough ideas which I've been sort of playing around with. I did say
before the stream, it never happened.
We like to pretend to plan.
We never come up with plans.
We're
said
more
literally
spattering
streaming
ideas,
plan.
yeah. But I had two ideas, which was based around effectively this being swampland, a swamping place. But obviously, a lot of the swampland has been taken up and been reconfigured and created into farmland, into usable land. Which made me think, actually, this idea, these two ideas which I had, which were more swamp-based than anything else, actually fall together quite nicely. So I want you to think now, as I describe this area, and really sort of pay attention to imagining one of these rock formation caves, which you've probably seen hundreds of pictures of in the past, or seen a few motivational pictures, maybe even particular movies and such forth, of this beautiful cave system which opens up and creates a beautiful crest up into the sky. Has waterfalls falling down inside of it, and the sun just hitting the water just right to almost illuminate the cave system that you're within. This is very similar to that, and depending on how you look at it, could have a more light or dark version in your mind. It is a swamp which has survived the great transformation. It had ruptured and has appeared underground, deep down. I'm going to say about a mile's drop from the top, with great clumps of moss which have fallen down, attached to vines and stones and all other manner of things which don't seem like they should have enough effort to actually keep the ceiling up, and yet it does. Below is an actual swamp, a swamp which has either survived somehow or has manifested in its own right. No one's really sure how. This place slowly opened up and created into this location. It almost feels impossible. It almost feels wrong, but yet there's an element of it which just feels natural. The way the vines sit and just swoop around, the way that the water mingles and has life and bacteria and all manner of things seem to coexist quite nicely. It is a biome which had become lost and has just been found. Now, even though I say that this is about a mile down, it doesn't mean that it is completely disconnected. There is still ways of getting up and down, which would be mainly through those vines, the thicker ones in particular, which have effectively, without being terraformed, have almost become stepstones on the way up and down. There is access if it allows. And down in this area, down in this, depending on whether you see it as an abyss or as hallowed ground, there is a collection of peoples. All manner of different races, all manner of different things have just made the decision to stay. And when they live down there and they stay down there and they decide never to go back up again, they learn to live amongst this area without forcing it to accommodate them. They learn to sleep with the vines. They learn to find comfort. They don't hunt, because to hunt is to go against what was there naturally. Whereas if food were to happen to come a creature to die in front of them, it is a gift of the way of life. If it is spoiled, then obviously you've done something wrong and you want to take this punishment. It is an odd way of life, but it is very much a belief that if you come down here, you were meant to be down here, to the point where people almost see it to be quite cultish. I also kind of want to throw in elements which almost have that aspect, like, for instance, perhaps one of our avians who found themselves down there decided to stay and through commitment in their belief and wanting to stay, took the feathers from their wings so that they could not fly out. It was a statement that they are here, and this is where they are meant to be. And with that, there is the other element, which is that should you wander and find yourself in this place, that these very, very friendly people will help you. They will never hunt you and never aim to hurt you. But they believe that you're there for a reason. And they will believe that you're meant to stay. And they will try to help you realize that you are meant to stay. Now, that is my little nugget idea, which I've sort of been playing around with. And as I say, I think combining the two, I think works a bit better for it as well.
I think I managed to keep up with taking the
notes. Well, if not, we have a video.
We do, yeah.
And I know it's extremely sort of storytelling descriptive there, but I felt like that was probably the best way to try and get it across.
Do you want to name any of the people that are down there?
I'm going to say not yet.
Okay.
Because that's something which I think I want to have a bit more thoughts on. As I say, the first one which came into my head was effectively an avian which had been plucking its feathers. That whenever it grows another one, it plucks it straight out and gives it to the blonde. But I can't think of a name just yet.
Okay.
But even that, I just see potential for adventure hooks. There's a lot of things that could go down there. And the easiest one I could think of is there's been a missing person from up top, and people believe that they've come down. There's not too many people who go down ever come back up. And stories come with the people that do. So I sort of have that little thing, but I do want to come up with some names. I just can't think of anything at the moment. Because I must admit, the fort of the Swamp People was a secondary fort. The first one was literally this cove, which was just meant to be like a slice of what was, which had, as I say, been taken underground and such forth. I mean, I had the other thought that there was a dash of the swamp, which was still a swamp somewhere. But I like the idea that effectively, with what we were saying earlier with the Casamite, that it was such a big thing. And that perhaps this just got caught underground when it happened. No one really knew that it was there until it started to open back up again. And luckily no one was on top of it when that happened.
You don't want to be around when the giant underground...
It's the other thing I wanted to sort of... Yeah. It's the last thing which I had is something which I want to sort of twist into the potential of the monsters side of things. Yeah. Which is that there is a reason why if you fall down there, there's something that makes you feel like you want to stay there. And could it be potentially that there is one of these monsters which it feeds off of you being there? It survives by other people existing there and potentially living off of, once again, symbiosis, but has a more of a darker connotation. So they don't want to let you leave because you're a fresh food source, effectively.
I'm just going to put on the notes just false Hydra.
Effectively, that's exactly where my mind was going. It's like that, but not quite that. But along the lines of that, but not quite that. But I think that, you still get to remember everything. You just don't want to leave. And if you stay there long enough, you really don't want to leave. It's like it slowly winds you down. If you had the right instincts to actually sense it, you might realize in time to run.
So, Ravenspire
Mm-hmm.
and or Velin's Watch. Where do we want to start with? I want to put at least a tavern in both of them.
Okay. I mean, with the Ravenspire, I would love to sort of place that one down that it is more particular because of what we've already thrown down, that not too many people come close, not too many. It becomes more something where they've managed to make it for themselves. I would love for them to be effectively have like a meadery.
Okay.
One of the easiest things to have is bees create honey, integrate that, and they can effectively have mead. And it becomes one of those bits where it doesn't matter if people come by or they don't come by, or the for some reason the merchants don't want to send their load to us for this whatever reason. But they can make do with what they have. Like I could imagine them also potentially having some very odd and rather special wines, which, for the sake of how their location and such for them, that the rumors behind it, probably could get an interesting price from them as well. Just for the sake that it becomes a rarity, and as we know with anything which is rare, it must be good.
So,
good old De Beers.
2 options. I think one option.
Yeah.
One thought.
One opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted.
If we're going with it being a meadery and they have bees and they make their own mead, and the mead is the famous thing and the bees are a big bit of that. The eye of the beholder.
Oh, John, you know how much I love puns. I cannot say no to that. Yes.
I literally looked up in my third screen, which you could potentially see if you can make out the reflection here and work out what I'm typing into Google in that screen. Tavern with bee pun. So thank you to whoever wrote that comment on the DM Academy.
I think that even just the beholder just becomes such an... Oh, God.
I don't know, I like the eye of the beholder.
I do agree. I think the eye of the beholder works quite nice. It works... It's such a classic lineup of a pun and all that sort of thing. Heck, I've made that as a TikTok joke before as well. Your task is to acquire the eye of the beholder so they can see if beauty really is there. God, I want to get in touch with the Arcane Alchemist and say, can you make a special mead called the Eye of the Beholder? We'd really, really like that.
Actually, I'm going to say that
I would
the
say
mead
that
itself is called the beholder.
Yeah.
Who owns it? Are they human?
I don't know why, but I'm getting more of a... I get a feeling for tiefling, actually.
Okay.
I feel like a tiefling sort of feels right for it.
So, hospitality?
Hospitality works quite nicely. I will say there's one thing, I don't know where enough we're going to place them, but I do want there to be a tiefling called Greetings.
Greetings, I am greetings, I am greetings, I am greetings. Okay, what's a description of hospitality? What color skin do they have? What color? What type of horns do they have? Do they have ram's horns or swept back horns or
I see
bull
them
horns?
in my
Antlers?
mind. I kind of see them with swept back horns, but I also see them as a rather dark, almost black in color, which is the reason why they kind of like the Raven Spire, is because there was people weren't too sure about the very, very dark, almost black horns, and so they found a connection there. I kind of like that as an idea. And also the idea that the horns are almost seemingly swept back with the hair, almost as if someone has literally shoved them back. I suppose they could come down and curl round, but I kind of like that it's almost almost grown hair somehow. And I don't even know what I'm talking about now.
Do they have? Are they red, green, blue, orange, yellow, white? Yeah, like alabaster skin or regular human skin? Do they have? Are they black skinned? They're like completely onyx.
It could be an interesting one if they're shades of grey. So the quite pitch black horn, but going into different shades of grey, which almost seeming like an ancient picture, or someone's made a charcoal drawing of a person come to life.
Are they friendly? Are they personality trait? I guess is.
Well, I would definitely say they're hospitable. No, I think that they're quite friendly when it comes down. That if you actually allow yourself to get to know them, because once again, appearance, as much as we sort of fight against it, there are some people that will judge a book by its cover, but it is literally along the lines, if you get to know them, and it doesn't, we're not even talking about a long get to know, we're talking about pretty much within a couple of sentences of actually say hello, you'll come to realize that they are quite a lovely person. It almost radiates from them from the moment they start speaking with you. But you've got to allow them to speak with you. Because the other thing which I come to realize is that we have also created what could be depicted in a horror movie, seen in the middle of the night under the right illumination.
I've just put down they're friendly and outgoing as long as you spend the time to get to know them, but they are aware that some people will judge the book by its cover and are willing to play up to that stereotype if if someone prejudges them, they're not going to
try and fight them to try and understand them or to try and make them.
Yeah.
It is a case of, if you're going to give the chance, I will absolutely open up to you. If you're not going to give me the chance, well, you've already made your mind.
Rough on you then, I guess, buddy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I am literally now imagining a situation just you've managed to find yourself lost, not too far away from it without realizing, and a figure comes in and is almost different shades of a shadow. Are you okay? You look like you're a bit lost at the moment. You know, perhaps I can help.
So we then have the Felon's Watch.
Yes.
What do you think of the tavern there? It's a reasonably affluent place. It's small. It's nice.
Yes.
And I feel that it's a place where people might travel to for the Lantern Release Festival. So I feel that it's got to have a decent tavern.
I can sort of imagine two parts to this tavern as well, which is one part is designed to be quite and almost luxurious. It's been put a lot of design and got the goblins to help out quite a lot to make a part of it almost a traveling, so it can follow to the lanterns as well. But it has been designed so that it can go with the people, which also adds to its charm. It's as technically has a manner to open up in different locations if necessary, and people could potentially even hire this mobile part of the building to go to different locations for particular ceremonies or whatnot. But its location, I see it as one of these where it got built before anything else because it had such a beautiful area, the way that it looks over the land and the place. It has one of those. I want it to have such a wide view of wherever it might be. I'm sort of got in my mind a bit like with. Have you ever played any of Final Fantasy 15?
No.
Okay.
That's a short conversation, that one. Unfortunately, none of Final Fantasy.
Okay, we won't use that as a reference point then. Basically, I want you to imagine Grand Canyon, for example.
Okay.
And imagine that there's a person that has literally built a restaurant which is designed to show off the view in particular. Literally, like the outside with the patio and all this was made before the building was. But the key element is that big, beautiful view over there is what I want to show off to people. And it becomes a sort of...
Okay.
It's stylized. It's the reason why people come to this location, and the reason why it's
giant panoramic glass windows.
Pretty much, it is. I mean, I'm not even thinking windows. I'm thinking probably more it's like a sheen of magic, which it stops anything from flying in or destroying your meal, or the wind blowing through and disrupting everything. But it still lets you feel like you're in the atmosphere of just being there. And this particular group, when it comes down to it, as you say, being quite on the affluent side of things, they had some money. They have the ability to sort of put into it. And that this is more their own private investment. But they made it for themselves, but they like the community. They like the people because it has a different feeling, a vibe to it. That it's almost like a rich family has more than enough money to throw at a place, that it's a posh restaurant, but there's been downscaled so that other people will come in, and it has a high-class feeling.
So, the Duskvales, Lord and Lady Duskvale, are mentioned as being former adventurers. So what if this is the tavern, and the travelling tavern is one half of it, the panoramic view tavern is another side of... They're two parts of the same structure, effectively. They can dock together to be one big thing, or one half of it can just wander off somewhere else on little wheels and trundle up to the top of the lantern spire, or go off somewhere else nearby on relatively safe ground to for the local ceremonies. You've got a wedding hire, you're trundling off over. What if this is the sorcerer of their adventuring party? That has settled down to do this, and while it is a nice affluent building and such, and it's prices are set to allow it so that people can come and visit and see there and stay. He doesn't need the money.
No.
He's
It's
already
not
set up
about
for
the
that.
money. Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's taking some money because people expect to pay, and there are running costs to it, but it's not about getting rich. He's well off enough to see him through the rest of his life, or her through the rest of her life.
I like that as an idea, that effectively, even when it comes down to like the chef who's with them, is more like their partner. So the head chef is just dramatically into good food, likes the good food, likes that side of things enough. So it's, once again, it's not about the money, but the money actually helps to get the ingredients, and we can carry things on that way and pay the staff who help them. It's not for them; it's just for the sake of keeping it going. It's a passion project, which I love more than anything else. Now I think about it. Which also probably adds to the reason why, when it comes down to the lanterns, it's because they love to go and see the lanterns every year. And so, why not take part of the tavern with us?
So, what's the name of the tavern? What is the name of the tavern? Or do we need to name the people first?
I mean, the key word which I'm getting in my head when it comes down to the tavern name is something respite.
Okay.
Because for some reason, respite just jumps into my head quicker than anything else. The people's name might be a good idea. Just for...
So I'm looking at my list of names.
Mm-hmm.
I like Isolde.
Isolde has a lovely ring to it.
Isolde Pullmanter. Isolde Nightfire. Isolde Shadowborn. Isolde Emberglow.
I think actually going back to Nightfire works quite nicely, especially considering they're loving the lanterns and that going on.
Isolde Nightfire.
You can always tell their lantern because it has such a particular... It is the Night's Fire.
So then is it Nightfire's Respite?
I like that as an idea, actually. That works quite nice. Because it has such a lovely ring to it as well. Because I must admit, in my mind, there was only two ways it was going to be. It was either going to be named after them, or it's going to be named after their passion. But Nightfire is a beautiful name. I do like that whole idea of it now as well, because it's all passion project. You know, the menu is ever changing. The different drinks and bits and pieces which they find is whatever they want to try. It's just we happen to have where we're doing this tonight. This is what we like. If you want to join in, you can.
Do we want to? Now you said their partner is the chef. Are we saying their business partner or their romantically involved partner?
I was having in my mind romantically involved. Effectively, it's almost like it's just trying to feed their passion was what it was starting out as, and snowballed a little from there.
Lucian Knight.
Ooh, I like that.
putting down that he loves to cook.
Hmm.
That's the only note I have about him at the moment.
It's about the only one we need to start off with. Once again, we can come in with other little bits and pieces later on, but it's the little starting parts.
I need to remember at some point to come up with first names for Lord and Lady Duskvale. I've got ideas. Finish them off. I've got basically their daughter is off on adventures now because they've retired from adventuring, so she's gone off to take up the family business, as it were. I think that's it for now.
It seems like we've got to a good little point there, yeah.
I think we've got a fairly reasonable amount of detail about each locations around the Ravenstone Marshes, and obviously I'll reach out to the other two and see if they've got anything that they want to add. But
yeah,
I'm not saying you weren't there, so you don't get to have a say in the marshes.
Well, let's face it, we're building this together.
Yeah. So I think, as you said earlier, I think that the only thing that we should do next month, it feels right that we do monsters.
It feels a good month to do monsters. It really does.
So next month we'll look at some monsters for... We've already got some listed for Torgalard. I came up with some monsters for Torgalard that I originally wasn't going to put in the book because they were going to be sort of the focus of the first adventure I was going to run in Tamrinor.
Okay.
But I'm going to put them in the book, and we can discuss them, and we can build on them. Mostly because I've talked about them a decent amount to people because of the splitting up of the books things. So they're still going to be the focus of the first adventure, and there's prizes possibly, or you're going to work it out very quickly. I don't know. But yeah, we can put some monsters in for the Ravenstone Marshes. Put some more monsters into the Torgalard. But for now, I guess all that remains for us to do is to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please do hit that follow button. It's a great way for you guys to know when we go live. A completely free way that you can support us on the channel. It really does mean a lot. We have a Discord you can join to chat with us about the games we're playing, things we're doing. We have a YouTube channel that you can go to catch up on all the previous things that we've done. We have a website, finalbossfight.co.uk, that you can go to catch up on everything that we do, and it's got a shop up on there where you can buy the book, you can buy the Tamrinian rune language that Ben put a lot of time into creating, and Sean put a lot of time into creating as a typeface that you can on your computer machine. And that's really cool for both of them.
Sorry, I just took a look in the closed captions. And you can buy the Tamrini and ruined language that Ben put a lot of time into.
Oh yeah, we do need to make a note of Tamrindel somewhere as well. So don't forget that.
Yes. Yes, we do.
There's my note. Notes for that note. Hey. At Tamarind. Question mark. Thanks. Closed. Options. We're also on Drive-Thru-RPG now, which is really cool. We have proper ISBNs and everything. It's really exciting. I put together a copy of the covers for both the first book and Jeff's short story book with the proper, like, official book barcode now, with like
Nice.
our ISBN. That's really cool. I'm really excited about that. It's really cool. I do have to work out a way to put it on that pile of books I have over there and in the cupboard that don't have it printed on them. We didn't have an ISBN at the time.
Yeah.
But the second printing, assuming we get that far, will have the proper barcodes on the back.
That's gonna be awesome.
And then the second book will just have that proper barcode on it from the start, because I've actually got the ISBN numbers for both the second book and possibly even the third book of this.
Nice.
Because it's cheaper to buy a bundle of 10 than it is to buy 2 of them.
And hopefully after we get a few other little projects a bit more done.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've got our one together as well, which
we've got thoughts.
Yeah.
Brain says it's now time for us to look at the credits.
That's a good brain there. There we go.
Thank you, Brain, for remembering what we do at this point. You won't see me on the credits as usual because my camera is currently on Google Meet, not on OBS. But tomorrow night, it's the last of the Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Oh.
It's 5 years this week that the Rime of the Frost Maiden book came out, and we're celebrating by finishing. We're done. Tomorrow is going to be the last of the epilogue episodes. We did 2 epilogue episodes, and this one is going to focus on AJ, Dax, and Cherish, and what they do in the aftermath of victory over the Frost Maiden. So tune in tomorrow to find out what that is. Tuesday, it still currently says Dragon Age Inquisition, but I finished that game last week. So I need to work out what new game to play now. It's possibly going to be Dragon Age Veilguard, but I haven't actually checked that runs on my computer yet. I should do that at some point soon.
It would be wise.
Probably before Tuesday.
That would be very wise.
Wednesday, Minecraft.
Yes.
I don't know what we're doing in Minecraft this week.
Well, I think when it comes to
I've now put in the safety features on the nuclear reactor and have also troubleshot why the nuclear reactor stopped exploding. I forgot a key point to it, which is the energy needs to go somewhere.
Ah!
If the nuclear reactor fills up on energy, if the turbine fills up on power in its buffer, it stops turning the steam back into water.
Oh, right.
And that's bad, because then the nuclear reactor runs out of water, because you are reliant on that being a closed system.
Yeah.
Oops. I've made a much bigger battery now.
Okay.
I've also made a energy trash can that I need to work out a way to have a it needs to be like a tiered system where it's like, if the energy can't go into this thing, it's going to go in the bin.
Makes sense.
Because basically we can't have it fill up.
No.
Otherwise, boom. So hopefully no boom.
Yeah. That would be good. Also, we've still got to try and get the heads as well.
Yes.
Well, did you figure that one out yet?
Nope. I mean, it's basically it's going to be continuing to do what we did last time, which was set up some way of spawning creatures and throwing them at a mob masher with beheading on it, because there used to be a beheading enchantment yet.
Yeah.
And that mod isn't in the version of the game that we have.
Oh well.
But we can throw mobs at the mob masher, whether we're spawning them in via fixing some spawners to spawn zombies and creepers, or just using the setting up a proper dark room and using the dreadful dirt. I think we might need to just set that up a little bit away from the castle. I've got the spawner stoppers.
Yeah, I must say, I was thinking that one myself. That kind of makes sense. Sort of stabs ourselves in the foot.
It has upsides and downsides.
Oh, of course, like everything.
Saturday
Anyway.
next week, if I will remember to have written it by Saturday next week. It's the quiz night. Saturday next week. I need to write the quiz. Is my plan? Some of my plan for tomorrow.
Oh god, yeah, I just remembered as well. That's My Hero Academia as well, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is. Yes.
I've been spending too much time with the Demon Slayer instead because that film's coming out.
So tune in for the quiz night next Saturday. For now, it's time for the raiding.
I mean, who are we going to raid in today?
Fabulous question. I'll tell you when the page loads.
I mean, as a suggestion, because here we were talking about Minecraft, Snow Wolf S.
Snow Wolf S is doing Minecraft. So yeah, let's send you guys over to see some Minecraft.
And don't forget the extra T's.
We'll see you guys again real soon. Don't forget to come back to us on Wednesday for us to do Minecraft. We'll see you again real soon. For now, so long. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.